So you want to be above all your classmates. You want to be that 1% of teenagers. You want to be that tiny bit closer to your success than they are. And well, the simple truth is that you're not going to achieve it by discipline or goals, because everyone has those. And yet the simple but cliche truth is that if you want to be in the 1%, you have to do what the 99% don't. And so that's what I'm going to show you in today's video. So let's get straight into it. Now, critical thinking is the key to this, because none of the teenagers nowadays think for themselves. Because simply we're all attached to our phones, they scroll 24/7, and all they get is information from social media. So they're constantly believing what they see, they constantly interact with what they see, and so they don't actually think for themselves. Hence, critical thinking is so important. So how do we actually develop critical thinking? Well, it's actually a pretty simple skill. It's just thinking for yourself. So instead of just consuming some information online, we actually take this information, develop an opinion on it through other different sources, and actually come to a conclusion rather than just taking exactly what it says. And how we can develop these kind of thinking thoughts and habits is simply through just doing it. Jordan Peterson normally says to write down or actually come up with some critical thinking tasks to do. So if you have something in mind and you want to question it and you want to come up with a solution to it, you need to do your own research, you need to write down what your thoughts are, and you'll slowly develop a good critical thinking methodology. Now, going into our second one, become hyper-obsessed. Now, the reason why people succeed, let's say you're science nerds in your class, why they succeed in science is because they're hyper-obsessed in it. The people who are really good at tennis or at football are really obsessed with it, and therefore they are so good at it because they constantly want to improve, they constantly want to practice, and they constantly want to develop and build their skills on it. And the number one thing you can be obsessed with is outperforming everyone else. If you simply become obsessed with working harder and actually coming up with solutions to success, you are going to outcompete everyone else because you're constantly thinking about it, you're constantly obsessed, and you're hooked. You're on this addiction of a grind, basically, and that's what's going to propel you further than everyone else. Another factor which this plays into is auto-suggestion, which I keep mentioning throughout my videos. It's something that takes place when affirmations come into play, and if you're completely obsessed with something, you're constantly thinking about it, auto-suggestion kicks in and you start working towards it subconsciously anyway. Overall, it's a fantastic thing. You need to become hyper-obsessed if you want to succeed and become past the 99%. Now, as number 3, we're going to look at produce, don't consume. Everyone nowadays is consuming, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, social medias, it doesn't matter. They're always consuming things. They're always eating, they're always doing stuff, and you come to realize that actually become a producer. Because becoming a producer means that you are the one providing these things. You're the one actually creating them. You're the one who's getting money in your pocket while they're just consuming your product. And this is the most important one, because in the future, what's going to propel us forward into technology is AI. What AI is very good at is making people consume things. So if you are on AI's side, if you become the producer in this process, everyone else is going to become a consumer. I'm talking every single other person. This was said in podcasts. This has been said everywhere. So become a producer before it's too late. So thank you so much for watching. Obviously, weekly videos getting better every single time are going to be coming out, and you can join the Telegram, and there's soon going to be a school community. So stay tuned for that. See you next week.